The next wave of business leaders won't just use AI, they'll master momentum with it, starting now. Welcome to the Mastering AI Momentum Show, where visionary founders and driven business leaders turn artificial intelligence, automation, and scalable systems into real growth, real scale, and real freedom. If you're ready to break bottlenecks, reclaim your title, and scale smarter, this is your playbook. Let's dive in. Here are your hosts, Allie Porter and Elise Smith.
Welcome back to another episode of Mastering AI Momentum, the podcast where we help 7 and 8 figure founders unlock bottlenecks and explore how AI can help accelerate their business growth. I'm Elise Smith, your AI business strategist with Millionaire Momentum, and we at Millionaire Momentum help founders and marketing leaders stuck with unpredictable client acquisition and wasted time on strategies that don't convert, because we all know how that goes, with the right AI systems and strategies so that they can scale with predictability and attract the right fit kind of clients. So today I have an incredible guest, guys. You are going to love his energy and just everything that he stands for and his why, which we'll definitely get to as well. I am joined by Adam W. Barney, founder of Scale Smarter, energy coach to 7 to 8 figure founders and executives, and host of the podcast Is Anything Real in Paid Advertising, which, by the way, is like the greatest name in podcasts ever. He's an ad strategist who has managed over $100 million in paid media spend, and the author of Make Your Own Glass Half Full and the creator of Energy OS System, helping leaders scale without burning out. So Adam, welcome. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you, Elise. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. So I have to ask about your podcast here. Is Anything Real in Paid Advertising? Tell us how you came up with that brilliant title.
So I'll give you the quick version kind of how I got there. Elise, I spent over 20 years in corporate marketing. It was a nonlinear path, but as you mentioned, I managed over $100 million in paid media spend. I worked at companies like Microsoft, Akamai Technologies, and at ad agencies with Fortune 50 clients, and I also built and led teams of 20 plus people. But I can say I could count on 2 hands the number of times I've clicked on sponsored ads, even though I've managed that size and that amount of paid media across my career. I also can fast forward, as you mentioned, I run Scale Smarter, which is an energy coaching practice. Earlier this year, not only does it come down to that fact that in my personal journey, I've only clicked on a handful of those paid ads. Earlier this year, I had a trusted advisor tell me I should spend about $1,500 and launch a VSL through Meta ads, and I didn't get one marketing qualified lead, let one sales qualified lead. So hence the influence here is the world has changed in marketing in general, but it's also just about pushing the corners on where are we going? What's the impact of AI, which I know is our topic here on this podcast, but also just how are consumers buying differently? How do people find products differently? There's a search bar on every platform these days. It's not like 15 years ago when a business owner could go even smaller than the business owners we work with, Elise, could go spend $50 a month on Google Ads and they could build a business on that. That's not how the world works anymore. You see people, their businesses are even being sourced through ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity. All of these AI engines are bringing clients business. Also, you've got platforms like Reddit, which are just incredibly valuable platforms. It's another search bar where people can be found with their businesses. But the inspiration is really, where are we going in paid media and where are we going in advertising in general? And I don't just bring on people who do paid advertising. I bring on founders, I bring on entrepreneurs, I bring on people who operate agencies and marketing organizations that don't even focus on paid media. It could be organic, it could be creative. And it's just fun to dive into those exciting conversations and push the corners a little bit.
I love it. Oh, that is so cool. And you can tell how amazing this guy is with marketing and advertising with a title like that. So that's great. So tell us a little bit more about who you serve and how you serve them.
Sure. Well, let me also say, Elise, I've been really looking forward to this conversation because your podcast is about momentum, and momentum is exactly what I help leaders build and sustain. So many of the founders and executives out there have a vision. They've got the ideas. Maybe they even have capital and a team, but what they don't always have is the energy to sustain on that journey. So my work as an energy coach and with this energy OS system is about keeping their glass half full, keeping them plugged in and making sure they don't flame out when the weeks blur together and the decisions pile up, as I think you and I both know they tend to do. So if people can take one thing away from me today, it's really your energy is your most undervalued currency. You can raise money, you can hire talent, or you can even buy more software. But if you're running on empty, it all just collapses behind that front.
And I love that you're talking about that. Like most business owners don't even think about that as something that they need help with, even though that's something that we struggle with all the time. I know for me, I have recurring mono, and there are times where I just do not have any energy to do anything, but I
Right.
still have a business to run. I still have a child to take care of and a house
Yep.
to run. And, it's one of those things that we kind of just push through hoping it'll get better, right?
Right. 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 Yeah. And that, one of the things that I love to remind founders and entrepreneurs I work with is the fact that we all have natural energy rhythms that hit us. And that's both things that boost our energy and things that drain our energy, right? So for a lot of people, it could be getting fresh air gives them a boost of energy. Natural light coming in, no matter what our situation or challenges we face are, can help us reclaim some of that energy. And then there are things that drain our energy. Is it going through 8,000 Slack messages at the start of each day? Is it catching up on email every afternoon? What are the things that really drain us? Or is it simply doing those repeatable tasks? And if there's misalignment with those natural energy rhythms that we all have in when we get the work done, if you're at your energy peak, for instance, do you want to be in a situation where you're focused on Slack for 2 hours, responding to Slack messages? No, that's not the right place to spend your energy. That's when you should be digging into that flow work, focusing on those one or two things today that are the game changers that you should try to get done. The other
Mhm.
piece of the puzzle, as we all have our challenges we face on a day-to-day basis. I have 2 young kids. Luckily they're in school right now, but I have 2 dogs in the house who are here all day. I live in a state of constant controlled chaos, and that can be challenging all the time. But another piece of the energy equation, that comes into to play, and I actually like to equate it to energy debt that we all accumulate with those drainers. There are a few things in the world that level sets every human on this planet. And I'll remind everyone, at least as of this conversation today, and I know we're focused on discussing AI, every business is still run by a human. And secondarily, every human on this planet only has 24 hours in the day to get done what they need to get done. So the things that we're obligated to are far different and unique to each of us. And that's where the energy work that I do comes in. It's meeting people where they are, meeting executives, high impact founders, meeting them where they're coming from with the complicated nature of what their holistic life looks like, and then bringing them into this energy OS system, which is a 90-day recalibration program to rework that, energy through high performing founders and executive teams.
Wow. I love that. So, I mean, you have this great marketing background. How did energy get brought into what you're doing?
Yeah. So early in my corporate career, I was working in the big ad agency space. I came to a pivot point where I moved from being an independent contributor into a leadership position. I also, through my coaching practice these days, one of the things I say consistently is I wish there was a formal leadership training that anyone who goes from an independent contributor position to a manager role would go through. I had managers who micromanaged me, who pushed me down. That didn't allow me to grow. So when I stepped into that leadership position, I took the different perspective, and it's a 50-50 flip side to the coin. I always felt in the teams that I managed, I was giving you the tools to succeed in your day-to-day job. These are people I directly managed or even just had influence over. But I want to give you the tools to envision and get to that next role and then the role above that. That was always the upward trajectory that I believed in. And that's what brought me 4 years ago to launching this coaching practice and really getting into diving into what energy means. And I've had people mistake energy coach over the years for, is it about solar energy? I'm deeply wound in justice and equity and in climate work, which is a piece of that puzzle. People said, is it about solar energy? Is it about regenerative energy? And I have to go, no. It's actually about the personal energy that we all have inside of ourselves. We each have a battery pack inside. Everyone, it could use a cheerleader who meets you where you are. And, a lot of the world also just talks about a vision, about having a big idea, and that matters. But vision without stamina, it just turns into a screensaver. And, what gets underserved and what I zero in on is that level of resilience, the ability to get knocked down and get back up again and again with your energy intact. Because if you just lay down and don't get up again, everything starts to atrophy. It's when we get back up from those challenges and flex your muscles, that's a game changer. So that's what I coach, and that's what I feel like leaders in this world desperately actually need.
Yeah. I love that. Vision without stamina is just a screensaver. That should be like a bumper sticker or something. It's great.
A t-shirt, right?
Exactly. I love that. So, speaking of vision, I know you have a really strong why. Would you mind sharing that with us? Because I think that you do have that perfect balance between vision and stamina, and that's what you teach, but you do it for such a beautiful reason.
Yeah. Elise, I'll remind everyone here, if you can't tell face value, hi, I'm a white male in the world. I, for decades across my life, have wished I could bottle up the position and confidence that has given me and hand that to people who don't come from that same background or experience. This ties back into also meeting my clients where they are, not where I'm coming from. That's the mission that drives me. I love working with diverse, underrepresented founders who don't come from that same position, don't come from that same place of support and confidence. And I'm the one who can help stand that up inside of you. I love to be that cheerleader that works on that. And that's truly, I think, and I view it changes the world. It makes it a more just and equitable place. Even ahead of having 2 young daughters, it's critical now in what I do that they understand that they can have a strong voice and an equal seat at the table. But I'm the one, I'm the kind of ally who doesn't just talk the talk. I actually show up. I've gotten deeply wound here in North America, and especially in New England, where I am outside of Boston, with changing the game in terms of venture capital and angel investment that goes to diverse, underrepresented founders. I actually love, Elise, being in that room where, as the white male, I'm the minority. That's the place that I love to play, because I learn more about myself through conversations in that kind of a room, because I walk away from learning about people's origin stories and I get to hold a mirror up afterwards and understand how I can reflect the energy that I have back out to the world in a powerful way. And initially when I started building this coaching practice 4 years ago, I actually said out loud in my mission, if I can influence 5 people of a younger generation to take an idea that's in the back of their head and not just act on it, but stay resilient towards marching on that path to achieve it, and it makes the world a more just and equitable place, then that's the impact that makes the biggest difference to me in the world.
Mm. Amazing. I love what you stand for. I love what you're doing. And yeah, it's very heartwarming to hear. And I can tell how much you care, not only about your clients, but about making the world a better place. And we need more people like you, Adam. So thank you for sharing that. That was beautiful.
You got it.
So
Yeah.
let's kind of look at your business in general. You said you've been in business for 4 years with this particular one. So every business has a growth journey. What were some of those biggest hurdles that you had in the beginning that you had to overcome to get to the heights where you're at now?
Yeah. Let me get into something that's quite vulnerable, actually, Elise, right? Because I know you love and your listeners value real stories on this podcast. And this is something I think so many founders and entrepreneurs do, especially solopreneurs early in their work. But for years, I underpriced myself. I was charging a fraction of what I deserve and what I can earn based on my background. Sure, I had clients, but my revenue was, only 2 or 3,000 a month. And that's not really sustainable when you've got a family, obligations, and a mortgage, that you need to pay on a monthly basis. But, it led me to realize finally I had to take a bit of my own medicine, which is important for us each to do. I had to recalibrate. And now I've elevated the pricing on that 90-day Energy OS, intensive. I'll be fully transparent though. If we were recording this 6 months ago, I was only charging $750 a month for my coaching. Now that platform it's a $10,000 price on it. I think the value is actually higher within this 90-day Energy OS transformational intensive program, but it brings me to a more sustainable level. And you know what? Clients are getting better results because when actually they invest at that level, they show up differently. And I didn't realize that earlier. And the lesson is really, you don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the years it took to make that hour valuable in the future. And I actually see the same is true with AI. AI isn't valuable for what it does in one click. It's valuable because of the years of knowledge that it can help bring to you, but you can also bring to it. The prompts feed it, and the wisdom, gets applied in there on both ends.
Mm-hmm. So good. Absolutely. And it really is something that I think a lot of business owners are doing without even realizing it, or maybe it's in the back of their head that they should be charging more. I mean, especially if you have, whether it's your sales team or yourself that's hearing like, oh, wow, it's that much to work with you. That's amazing. Like if you
Right.
hear that 5 or 10 times, that's probably a sign at that point.
Right.
But I like how
But I
you
also,
bring that over to AI as well, because AI, man, there's just so much that you can do with it. But at the same time, like we can really just appreciate it for the fact that it has all of this experience, especially when there's so many users on just Chat GPT alone that
yep,
it's constantly learning from. So
right.
thank you for being vulnerable. I appreciate that. And I think that that's a hurdle that a lot of people can relate to.
Right.
So if you had your dream business right now, because I'm sure your business is awesome, but I know you want to take it further, what are some things that you'd like to improve?
The number of people I can impact in the world. That's one of the biggest things. It's about, building a sustainable business, and growing the influence on the world. I realized I have a deep bench of experience, and if I can bring that to other people and help empower them to push forward, that's deeply, deeply critical to me. But also it's the impact that I drive through some of the allyship that I do. That's why I partner
Mhm.
with platforms like Scroobius. And if you break that name down, it leans into screw bias. It's run by an incredible change maker in the world named Allison Byers. And I attend events like Agents of Change here in Boston. It's coaching underrepresented founders. And that's why I love to show up. And the work isn't just about scaling the business. It's about scaling justice and opportunity for others and empowering others to, again, take that idea they have, that vision, and act on it, but then stay marching ahead on that path with resilience in place.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. So when it comes to like the changes that you'd improve to be able to have that dream business, usually there's like people, process, technology. What have you done in those areas to get you closer? And where do you feel like you would still like to go in those
Yeah.
areas?
Yeah. I mean, it's building off of my own confidence, and it's letting go of that imposter syndrome that we all focus. Imposter syndrome is a well overused word in the world, but it's allowing myself to do the work that I feel like I should be able to do and the change that I should be able to make in the world. I have
Mhm.
said for the past couple years, as I've refined my sales processes, I've refined my pitch codexes, I've refined just my lead generation. Um, I've said it's a heck of a lot easier. I could go, hand me, for instance, your business, Elise. I could go sell that a heck of a lot easier than I can go and sell myself out in the world. So
Isn't that
it's
interesting?
it's fascinating from a psychological standpoint how that works. So that's been about finding I actually love to coach in the idea of Venn diagrams, and I have started to leverage the Venn diagram approach to the strategic partners that I can work with to grow the business in the last year. I've supercharged my ability to take some calculated risk, and calculated
Mhm.
risk is critical both in terms of the pricing side that I mentioned earlier, but also understanding that I need tools who can fill some of the gaps that I have as myself. None of us in this
Mhm.
world are perfect. We all have pieces of ourselves that are imperfect. It's just a fact. So the key in for me is to find those partners who can help me meet me where I am right now to help me get to where I'm going in the future. And that's been challenging. I've made some really bad, another vulnerable piece. I've made some bad investments in how I did that before. Now I'm getting more strategic in the partners that I bring on, whether it's even negotiating more fully. It's understanding, yes, I'll try this new tool, I'll try this new tactic, whether it's lead generation, sales enablement, but where is the guarantee? Where are the metrics that we need to tie to? And if we don't hit those metrics, we don't hit the guarantees, I have an exit plan, right?
Mhm.
Even for a founder out there who's bringing on a co-founder or bringing on a team and spreading equity around, I think as humans, we always look to the negative before we do the positive. So that's the optimism work in play as well. But we don't we don't guardrail if things fall apart. I've worked for a business years ago, for instance, that was run by three brothers. I don't feel like three brothers should actually build anything together in the world, and that's a separate conversation to have. Um, that they ended up getting implicated after my time there for underpaying their employees, which was actually really fascinating to view from an outside. But build those guardrails so that you have a strategic partner and you seem aligned now and envision 3 years in the future. You're not invested at the same level from a time and an energy standpoint, or you just drift apart. What's your exit plan? What's your exit strategy so that you don't necessarily burn the whole thing down, but you can equitably walk away with neither party losing their shirt in the process.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like that was a perfect answer to be able to cover all three of those areas. And AI, there's so many cool things that we can do with it to be able to help with that. I mean, just one off the top of my head is that we've built an AI agent that will listen to every call that you have, whether it's a introduction call or a podcast call or a sales
Yep.
call or whatever that is, and give you feedback based on proven strategies to be able to help you get better, so that it is easier to sell your own products than it is others, which
Right.
isn't that funny? I mean, I completely agree. When I first got started with sales, I was like, I can sell other people's all day long. And a lot of salespeople have that problem. But then
Yep.
when it comes to your own, then that's where things kind of get sticky. So I love
Right.
that. So how are you currently using AI in your own business right now?
So I'm using a number of AI tools. I actually, in my own practice, have started road testing what I'm calling an offer GPT model that I built based on my own business experience. I'll also mention that I've coached over 300 micro business owners here in the US over the last couple of years that are recipients of a grant program. When you look at those 1 to 5, 1 to 15 micro business owners, whether it's a dog walking business or the laundromat around the corner, AI honestly is like adding a part-time COO. It doesn't replace, but it doesn't replace human resilience, of course, but it can automate repetitive administrative tools. It can streamline customer follow-up, or it can free up 10 hours or more a week so they can focus on what really matters for their business. And, then I look at it for executive teams. AI is a kind of a clarity amplifier, right? It can help
Mm.
reduce decision fatigue. It can filter some of the noise, and it lets leaders focus their energy on the 2 or 3 decisions that actually really move the needle for the business. So I actually say a lot, Elise, that AI plus my Energy OS system is the ultimate pairing, right? AI handles the noise, and the Energy OS makes sure you've got the stamina to keep scaling and moving in that direction forward.
What a cool world we live in. I mean, I feel like we can get unstuck from any problem when it comes to AI. And
Right.
especially when you have that stamina, like you've been talking about, to be able to implement the things that it suggests that you do.
Right.
So let's have some fun for a second. If you could like
Cool.
wave a magic wand and have AI streamline any part of your business or automate it, what would you choose?
Oh my gosh. Talk about energy in this in the answer here. Imagine if I could use AI to actually replicate myself, right?
Mhm.
As a business owner, I'm even guilty of putting way too much time on a day into this business. If I could replicate my mind, and not just from the way AI works today, where you can prompt and put something in there, but it actually emotionally connects back in the same way. That
Mm.
would be that would be scary and could be dangerous, but at the same time, that would be an incredibly powerful tool for me because I know how I use it. I would use it only for good, not for evil in what I'm doing. And then I could leave that AI bot up here plugging away on what I need to get done for the business while I spend time downstairs with my kids as they eat dinner when they get home, or I get to take the dogs on a bonus walk, right? That would be a powerful opportunity. It goes back to, I watching even Star Trek when I was a kid and imagining like if you could have a little travel portal that sits in your basement in your house, and you could just immediately step into it and go, I want to be sitting on a beach in the Caribbean right now. And you could hit that button and you could go there for 15 minutes. Talk about the ultimate energy recharge system.
Sign me
That
up.
that would be incredible. Go sit there on the beach for 10 minutes, maybe sip a margarita while you're there, and then be able to transport right back with more focus and more energy to what
Yeah.
you're doing right now. That's a little bit more of a technological innovation that I wish AI could achieve. Maybe we'll get there someday, but sign me up for the beta. If anyone out there who's listening is building that transport tool that just digitizes us out into the ether and then re-puts us back together where we want to go.
I'll even take a holodeck. Like, sign me up for that one too.
Exactly.
That's beautiful. Yes. And there's so, I mean, that I think that's why I love AI so much, is because there are so many other things that we could be focused on.
Yep.
I think as business owners, we love what we do, but there's so many administrative tasks that take over the heart-centered tasks that we
Yep.
actually want to focus on. And
Right.
even as like CEOs, we want to make sure that our people are taken care of. And those are the things that can't be replaced by AI.
Right.
But it is interesting to think about all of the things that can be, all those things that can be automated.
Yep.
And what if, I love that picture of you playing with your kids and your dogs and everything. What if we're moving from a 40-hour work week to a 20-hour work week because of AI,
Ooh.
right?
This is exactly what I love to think about with AI, but also my Energy OS system. You know,
Absolutely.
I one of the key takeaways that I've delivered through my energy coaching is it's about how would I describe this? Reclaiming, not necessarily getting 10, 20 hours back in the week just in general, but reclaiming 10 to 20 hours a week to regain executive capacity. Right. And if we could do that, not just as executive leaders, founders, but if we could in our day-to-day life use AI to reclaim some of that executive capacity that we all have from an autonomous mindset in our lives, that's deeply, deeply transformational and allows us to take our focus that we have and reframe it in ways that are actually lifting up in the world.
Yeah. Like what if hobby time is actually not just a squeeze it in whenever you can kind of thing?
Yep.
What if it's like part of your regular day so that you can recharge?
Yep.
So I love it. I love the future of where we're going with this. And, as long as we're responsible with it and we balance that concept of the energy that we have and the tasks that we're doing, and we utilize AI to take that even further, man, the
Right.
sky is the limit. So I
Exactly.
have loved this conversation. Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you. You know, I think it's one of these conversations that gives some proof in the world that business can be a vehicle for deeply personal world-changing impact. So I love
Mm.
keeping that moving forward. You know, Elise, I love what you're doing, not just with AI, but with your bigger mission in life, to fund IVF treatments. So that's where that comes into play here
Oh, well,
in my
thank you.
mind.
I really appreciate it. Well, this has been such a powerful conversation. Love your heart for helping leaders scale without burning out, but also, taking care of and speaking out for the minorities as well, and just the vision and the energy that you bring. So before we wrap up, can you tell our listeners where they can find you and connect with you and all of the fun things?
Yeah. For anyone listening, here's where to plug into my world. Pick up a copy of Make Your Own Glass Half Full, The Empowered Path to Optimism and Autonomy. Subscribe to the podcast as Anything Real and Paid Advertising. You can find me as adamwbarney.com as shown on the screen here. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm always game to use a real human to DM. That's myself back. Shoot me a message, visit me at adamwbarney.com, and I'll leave listeners with this. Plug in, power up, shine bright. That's how we scale smarter and also how we master AI momentum.
I love it. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, thanks for joining us for our Mastering AI Momentum show. And to all of our listeners, remember, scaling your business doesn't have to come with overwhelm. With the right energy systems and AI tools in place, you can really create that momentum that you're looking for that will give you more time back so that you can focus on the things that matter most to you. So we will see you next time on Mastering AI Momentum. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Mastering AI Momentum. If today's episode gave you clarity or sparked a breakthrough, share it, review it, leave us a comment, and show Ali and Elise how you're turning AI into ROI. And make sure you subscribe, because the next episode could be the strategy that unlocks your next level. Until then, build smart, scale fast, and let AI multiply your momentum.